Widows, balls and ghouls. Yes, I know, but I've got to read, alright? Thank you for the subscription. Don't interrupt me again. So, recently I went to 30 East Drive and I bought a tri-field meter and I've apparently been reading it wrong. Well, there's no apparently, I have been reading it wrong. But even reading it wrong would be underselling how wrong I've got the tri-field or the EMF. And as you guys know, accountability is important to me. If I've got something wrong, as a debunker, as a paranormal investigator, I have to correct that wrong. So, recently I've been sent an article from Haley is a Ghost, and it's on my visit to 30 East Drive. I'll screen share it quick here. YouTube debunkers risk spreading misinformation if they don't fact check themselves. And there's a picture of me, Doodle, and 3 spires. So about the author, welcome to the award-winning science blog about spooky things written by Haley Stevens, a Wiltshire-based paranormal investigator using a science-based methodology to solve spooky mysteries. Haley was once described as in the Times as the Scully end of the X-Files spectrum. Cool. I am all up for skepticism. I am all up for learning as I go. Otherwise, it's pointless me doing this because then I'm in an echo chamber with myself, just doing the same thing over and over, and I don't learn. So I have ditched equipment, ditched apps, and all the rest of it. Recently, people are having a go at me. Hey, you used an app back in this video with this team. Yeah, I did. Because if I didn't, then I can't say I don't believe in that because I've never tested it. People saying things like, you've never used a spirit box, so how can you be so down on it? Because I have used spirit boxes, but long before I had this channel. And the results were, it's just radio stations. You've never done EVP sessions. I have never had anything substantial. In fact, there may even have been one in this house. We caught an EVP in this house, and I sent it to my friend, because obviously you all know I came up in the music industry. So I sent this EVP clip to a friend that works in a recording studio, a sound engineer. I sent it to him, he ran it through his software, he sent it back, and he was like, it's not even a word, it's pareidolia. You think that it's repeated back what you said, and it doesn't. And yeah, I took that at his face value. He knows more about sound than I do. For example, when I have questions about paranormal equipment that I don't know about, I'll go and ask Kenny Biddle. I'll do a little bit of online research. This is about research. So let's take a read, and maybe I'll learn something here. Okay, YouTube is filled with low-quality videos of ghost hunters claiming to capture paranormal activity, often relying on poorly filmed or fake footage. As this trend has grown over the years, it has been accompanied by the rise of YouTube debunkers, offering alternative explanations and debunking the so-called evidence presented by these ghost hunting channels. Beardo visits 30 East Drive in August 2024. The Beardo Gets Scared debunking channel shared a video of his ghost hunt at 30 East Drive, a UK site famed for its supposed poltergeist, the Black Monk of Pontefract. Curious to see a debunker's approach, I watched the video but I was left disappointed. Beardo reported his team felt freaked out upon arrival but used a tri-field meter to find strong EMF meetings from the boiler upstairs. It was the strip light in the kitchen was where I thought it originated. Then I thought it was the boiler, but then we narrowed it down to a plug socket, and then above that a light switch which was throwing out a higher reading than anywhere else. But I've read that wrong as well. From examining the video, it looks like he's using a £30 device from Amazon which measures electric and magnetic fields as well. Beardo reported his team felt freaked out upon arrival, but used a tri-field meter to find strong EMF readings from the boiler upstairs. From examining the video, it looks like he's using a £30 device from Amazon which measures electric and magnetic fields as well as temperature. Beardo's team concluded the boiler might explain the strange feelings. This was the first red flag. Later in the video, the tri-field meter is placed on the bathroom floor where it registers up to 180 milligals, although it's unclear if this is milligals or I'm not even sure what that UT is. The meter is near a door frame with an electric socket on the opposite side of the wall, and the investigators react saying that's a ridiculous amount of EMF, 180, that's worrying levels. I don't know if that's dangerous, but it's going to cause horrible feelings. Beardo then shows a carbon monoxide detected by the boiler in another room, explaining they check in if the hangover feeling experienced on a previous visit was caused by a carbon monoxide leak, though the detector showed nothing. He then suggests the high EMF in the bathroom could still be a factor. Okay, EMFs in your house are not dangerous. The idea that EMF in your home could be dangerous is based on misinformation that claims radiation from power sources can cause serious health conditions such as cancer. There is no evidence to support this, and including a study in over 53,000 cases of children with cancer from 1962 to 2008 was published by the British Journal of Cancer, which unequivocally conclude that the EMF is not associated with cancer. EMFs from household appliances and nearby power lines are considered safe at typical exposure levels. Researchers consistently found no evidence that low-frequency EMF pose significant health risks. The idea that EMF is harmful is a popular conspiracy which stretches back decades, and in more recent years has developed into similar fears over wireless technology, mobile phones and 5G. This information became so prevalent through social media that EMFs are unlikely to cause you to feel weird. Research on complex electromagnetic fields and anomalous experience have produced mixed results. Michael Persinger, known for the God Helmet experiments, claimed to induce such experiences by exposing participants' temporal lobes with magnetic fields. However, replications failed to reproduce these findings. Granqvist, I've definitely read that wrong, et al. 2005, conducted a double-blind study to replicate Persinger's work and found no evidence that EMFs triggered mystical or sensory experiences. Instead, personality traits like absorption and New Age tendencies explain these. Similarly, Chris French's Haunt Project 2009 found no support for EMFs causing anomalous experiences. Some suggest that EMF cause off sensations to those exposed to them for transcranial magnetic stimulation, which uses electric magnetic field measuring 2 to 3 teslas to induce electric currents in the brain for medical purposes. If this can affect the brain, then EMFs must too, right? TMS uses fields much stronger than the 108 measured at 30 East Drive, which is too weak to cause these horrible feelings. A 2T magnetic field would register 20 million milligauss at this stage. I'd be less inclined to look for a leaky boiler and instead search for a hidden MRI scanner. It's disappointing to see a YouTube channel which challenges poor evidence of the paranormal itself using misinformation to explain away alleged paranormal activity. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that one would hope YouTube channels dedicated to debunking false or inaccurate claims would themselves make an effort to uphold the values of critical thinking and scientific integrity. However, aside from the EMF misinformation, during Beardo's visit to 30 East Drive, they also turn off the lights, use night vision camcorders, predominantly film themselves, leave out objects for the ghost to manipulate and challenge the ghost to do things. All considered, perhaps it's not such a surprise to find ghost hunters making typical ghost hunter mistakes. Fair. I mean, she's clearly not a fan, but I'm not going to hold that against her. She comes from a scientific background by the look of it, or science-based methodology. Right. I think that's fair. I think it's, you know, I have to learn these things. Okay, so now I'm going to look at a WebMD. Okay, so I'm on webmd.com, medically reviewed by Jabin Begum, MD, on August the 16th, 2024, written by Kerry Wigginton. What is electromagnetic hypersensitivity? Electromagnetic hypersensitive symptoms. Is electromagnetic hypersensitivity real? When to see a doctor? Electromagnetic hypersensitivity is a condition where people have a wide range of symptoms that they believe are caused to exposure to electromagnetic fields. EMF come from sources like cell phones, Wi-Fi, and other everyday electronic devices. Doctors can't fully explain what triggers symptoms associated with EHS, which often include headaches, fatigue, dizziness, skin problems, sleep trouble, trouble concentrating. There's ongoing research into this area. Otherwise known as EHS, microwave syndrome, electromagnetic sensitivity, electrohypersensitivity, idiopathic environmental intolerance attributed to electromagnetic fields. What are electrical magnetic fields? Right, we've got a baseline on that, and it comes from your appliances, your phone, etc., as described above. Right, but there are two main types. Ionizing radiation. You're exposed to high energy EMFs when you get an X-ray or radiation therapy. Health experts know higher frequency electromagnetic fields can damage your DNA or tissue on contact. That's why doctors use radiation to kill or shrink cancer cells. That's why so the pregnancy for X-rays, etc. Non-ionizing radiation. We depend on electricity in modern life, so we're surrounded by weaker, non-ionizing electrical magnetic fields all the time. These low energy EMFs don't emit the kind of radiation known to damage the body, but they have been linked to EHS symptoms. Cell phone towers, Wi-Fi routers, 5G, cordless telephones, electrical appliances, computers, laptops, other devices, power lines, transformers, compact fluorescent LED and halogen light bulbs, laser pointers and smart meters. There are also natural sources of non-ionizing radiation, including lightning, sunlight, heat, electric and magnetic fields made by the Earth. How common is electromagnetic hypersensitivity? In general, research have found that 1.5 to 5% of the population believe they are sensitive to allergic to electromagnetic fields. Some research has found rates as high as 13%. So 4 of us went into that house and 3 of us felt off in the same place. That is way above what is commonly reported and what is in these documents. The original article I read sounds right. Therefore, between the original article and this, it's safe to assume that out of 4 of us, 3 of us feeling really weird as soon as we step under that light wouldn't have been the EMF. According to this, it's too many people being affected. I'm still not saying it was the Black Monk. Let me just make that clear. Electromagnetic hypersensitivity syndrome is a self-reported condition. While there's no medical definition or any set guidelines for its symptoms, those who say they have EHS often have similar issues. Skin dizziness, ringing in the ears, confusion, strong mood swings, suicidal thoughts, depression, irritability, nervousness, memory loss, balance problems, sensitivity to sound or noise. Fast heart rate, chest pain, sweating, shortness of breath, fatigue, flushing, nausea, choking, coughing or hoarseness. I mean, if I had any of those, I'd be a bit concerned. But from what we've already read, I should be having those feelings now because of my PC there, because of the 2 plug sockets behind me there, because of the electric desk that I've got with 2 4-plug socket extensions on there, all of the lighting stuff, all of the gear I've got all over the place, the light bars behind me, the LED light up on the ceiling. It's not on now, but when I've got everything on, I got my phone in front of me, I got a Stream Deck and a light up keyboard. I should be feeling creeped out now. The EMF in this area where I'm sat with all these monitors and everything is going to be sky high. So why aren't I feeling weird now? Interesting, very interesting. Is electromagnetic hypersensitivity real? Researchers haven't found a clear link between the exposure to electromagnetic fields and health problems, but it's not for lack of trying. 50 controlled studies couldn't reproduce EHS symptoms in a lab. Okay, so what could cause electromagnetic hypersensitivity symptoms? No one knows why some people get EHS symptoms, but researchers have some theories, such as increased EMF exposure. The first theory is that people think they have electromagnetic sensitivity are right. They get brain or immune system changes that make them feel sick when they're around power lines, cell phones, or other low-frequency EMFs. I've never had that, so why did I feel so creeped out in that spot and see something out of the corner of my eye and immediately Doodle behind me has the same thing, and then Lee? Dean didn't get it, but he got it on the stairs, not far away from the plug socket. While some researchers believe EHS is a diagnosable brain and nervous system disorder, current research doesn't provide strong evidence to support this theory. The nocebo effect. This is when something makes you feel bad because you think it's dangerous. I felt bad before I even tested. I tested with the device because I felt off. I was trying to prove or disprove one way or the other. Not all researchers have found that exposure to EMF causes symptoms based on the nocebo effect, but several studies do show that negative ideas about EMF seem to play a role in symptoms. For example, one study found that people who thought they were exposed to high EMF levels said they felt sicker, regardless of their actual EMF exposure. This doesn't prove that people faked their system, well, but it shows their experience wasn't directly related to high levels of EMF. Being overly alert to danger doesn't apply to us. Other health conditions, your symptoms might be caused by a hidden medical issue, such as respiratory, skin, or digestive diseases. Right, cool. So the final bit, I've scanned through this pretty quick, but the final takeaway of this report is electromagnetic hypersensitivity is a condition linked to a range of symptoms believed to be caused by exposure to electromagnetic fields from cell phones, power lines, other electrical devices. While research hasn't found a clear link between EMF exposure and health problems, the symptoms are real and can be disabling. Doctors are increasingly focused on improving quality of life for people who believe they have EHF, including finding better ways to diagnose, treat or prevent symptoms. So the big takeaway from this is, while people are reporting that they have a hypersensitivity, which I don't think I do, I certainly don't think 3 of us did, there is no proof that this exists, which has undone the last 22 years of what I believe just from reading 2 articles. I'm going to read more on this, but it would seem to me that that house's EMF field, apart from the fact that I was reading the device wrong, apart from the fact that the amount of EMF was nowhere near as high as we assumed it was, even if it was high, there's no proof that that would cause any issues to any of us, let alone 3 of us. So, my EMF meter and my tri-field meter are going in the bin. Now, this isn't me, like, trying to prove or disprove the original article that I was sent. Kenny mentioned it on a Facebook group and he posted it in my comment section. I've had people inbox me, other people inbox me, the Hayley Stevens Hayley is a ghost article. I've had a few people bring that to my attention. And it's a good thing that somebody has written about this. I am able to read that and say, I don't know about that. Let me go and double check. So then I read some articles and I'm going to read more, but she appears to be right. Kenny is also right. I was reading the device completely wrong. The device is a £30 paperweight. Simple fact. But what is now interesting to me is what caused me to walk into that house at 30 East Drive and think somebody's walked past me, Doodle walk in just behind me and go, oh, and then for Lee to go, my hairs on my arms have gone up. And it was such a quick timing that none of us had really spoken about it. Doodle noticed me cock my head around the door thinking Carol was in cleaning or something. It's interesting. Very interesting. Did we have an experience? Because EMF seems to be a non-starter there. Because I'm doing this with the tri-field meter up into the light. But then when I'm bringing it down, there's hardly anything there. So would that have affected me? Well, it looks like no. Not at all. The carbon monoxide thing... I mean, I've woke up in that room three times, and twice I felt like I've got a hangover from it. I don't know why. The last time I stayed there, nothing. Every time I go there, I turn the boiler off on the wall. The boiler is not on. Hayley doesn't agree with turning the lights off, using night vision, filming yourself. And I get that if I was there doing a scientific investigation, which I'm not going to, I'm not a scientist, but I'm making content for YouTube and trying to, you know, show how a regular investigator, you know, not anyone scientific based, but to go to an investigation, a place that's reportedly haunted, see if you can get an experience, film your experience, upload it for YouTube content. That's what I do. I don't claim to be an expert. I've never claimed to be an expert. I won't ever claim to be an expert. I know little bits about a lot of things. I don't know a lot about one specific thing. Unless you want to ask me about the security industry in the UK. And even that's going to be outdated now because I haven't worked in it for, what, 3 years now? But I can see why we'll call her Scully is very like, you're a debunker and you haven't done a scientific investigation. But I don't debunk the paranormal. I don't debunk claims of the paranormal. I debunk fake videos whilst looking to find things that intrigue me and if they are real. Maybe she just thinks that what I do isn't good enough because I'm not scientific based. And that is absolutely fine. But my mission isn't to go out there to be like, I said that EMF is high, therefore, that's not the case. I have been educated today. I have had somebody come to me and say, you need to read this. Then we've gone and looked at something else, done a little bit more research and found, well, yeah, I was completely wrong. I have been wrong since 2002 or, no, 2004. So yeah, 20 years. I have been getting this shit wrong. But there's nothing wrong with learning. There is nothing wrong with admitting to your mistakes and saying, hey, I've been doing this wrong for the last 20 years. Guys, I have been getting it wrong for 20 years. And without learning, I can't progress. This is why a lot of my equipment's been binned. I'd rather go old school with coins and pen drawn around it to see if they move with the camera trained on it. Things like that. I'd love to go to 30 East Drive for a week, rig the place out top to bottom in CCTV, and then walk out of there and just leave the house to see if anything happens. If nothing happens, hire it for another week, take a young teenager in there because that's where the original haunting supposedly developed. But to say, yeah, you know, you're a ghost hunter making typical ghost hunter mistakes, yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. But I'm not going there as a scientist trying to scientifically prove one way or the other. The reason I go to these places and I call out the same as a lot of other channels is these people go to these houses and will shit talk Fred, and within 3 minutes a marble has bounced off their noggin, the clock has come down the stairs, and there's flashing orbs all over the place and a shadow figure running around the corner. Or people getting pulled up the stairs, not by a camera power wire. Honest. That's why I do the things that I do. I am not trying to disprove the paranormal as a whole. I am trying to see if I can have the same experiences that other people that go there quite often have. Lots of people go in there and they're getting stuff launched at them because they've shit-talked Fred the Demon. I've been there 4 times and going for a 5th time for a few nights. And again, I will shit-talk Fred to see if I can replicate what these other people are documenting and putting out on YouTube. I'm not a scientist, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a debunker of YouTube content. Maybe that'll clear that up. And Hayley, if you see this and you want to reach out and direct me in ways of more articles, better ways to paranormal investigate, get a bit more scientific with it, equipment that I should be using, or equipment that you think is more beneficial than what I have been using, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is in the channel description. Obviously, I go to Kenny Biddle a lot for things like this. The other flip side to that is, I don't know enough about Hayley, so I'll use Kenny as an example. Kenny is an out-and-out skeptic. Complete skeptic, has never seen anything, never, probably won't, etc. And that is fine. That's Kenny. I'm not going to slate somebody for not believing, same as I don't slate people for believing, because I've had experiences that I can't explain. But Kenny is the polar opposite of, you know, your traditional YouTube ghost hunter, and me and him, we don't butt heads. That's the wrong way to put it, but we have different thoughts, because Kenny is like, ghosts don't exist, and I'm like, well, they do. I saw one as a child. I've had a bad experience with the Ouija board. He will say ideomotor effect, and I'm like, ideomotor effect didn't throw that glass across the room. The amount of people in that room. Now, all of our stories over time have changed, false memories and all the rest of it, but the one thing that was crystal clear was the sound of like a flick on the glass upturning and then exploding in midair. I'm still not saying that our homemade Ouija board, while we were drunk, was a demonic presence, was something paranormal, but it was weird as shit, and science hasn't explained that to me. And science can't explain that to me because they weren't there. But I'm not shitting on science, and I'm not shitting on the real believers, and this is something that people need to understand and get out of their heads with me. I do not debunk the paranormal. That is not my mission. That is not my job. That is not what I set out to do. I set out to debunk fake content, because for every fake video that is out there that is mocking my belief system and making legitimate investigators look bad, I'm the voice for that. Hayley is a ghost hunter that bases herself on science. I would like to think that me and Hayley sit on the same side of the fence, whether I'm more of a believer than she is or not. I could learn from Hayley, like I've learned from Kenny over the last year and a half that I've got to know him. And these are things that I can pass on to Doodle, to Lee, to the other people that watch my channel, to the people that I investigate with. You know, it's not like we didn't pull out an application in that house and put it on the table and be like, right, go on, ghost, do your worst, and then claim everything that came through the app was demonic or whatever. There was no wire pulling, nothing got thrown. There were really strange noises in my room while I slept. I never claimed any of them to be a paranormal entity, a ghost, or the Black Monk of Pontefract, but I found it weird, and all I did was accidentally document that because I thought I turned my camera off when I put it on the floor. The camera at the bottom of the stairs, I knew I left that on, and I was running it till the batteries went out, and again, it captured really weird noises. Are they a ghost? Probably not. Did I claim any of them to be the spirit of, or the entity of the Black Monk of Pontefract, or the portal that allows whatever ghost you want in and all the rest of it? No. Have I ever come away from 30 East Drive saying, yes, that house is 100% haunted? I haven't. But at the same point, I have had more weird experiences at 30 East Drive than I have had anywhere else other than my own home. The difference with my own home is, in the 11 years I've lived here, if you condense all of that stuff down into, you know, if I was to write a book, it wouldn't be a book. It'd be a couple of pages. It'd be a journal, if at best, of the stuff that goes on in my own home that there's no rhyme or reason for. But very interesting. I was initially a bit like, oh, I don't know if I want to look at this, because it's just going to be a scientist tearing me apart for being a dumbass or something. And while she doesn't seem impressed at all, that's fine, because she's far more trained in this than I am. I need to look at this. Chris French, who obviously I'm a fan of, The Haunt Project, an attempt to build a haunted room by manipulating complex electromagnetic fields and infrasound. Cortex, a journal devoted to the study of the nervous system and behaviour. So does that experiment show that infrasound plays no part in odd feelings? That's interesting. I've never investigated infrasound because I wouldn't know where to start, but that's interesting. Very interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. I know this isn't your typical... I mean, I've never done a video like this, where it's like, right, let's look at the science. Let's look at what the scientists or the scientific minds are saying, and let's read some articles. I've never done that, but I want to learn, and I just thought, if I record what I'm reading, alright, this is an edited down version, and I've only read 2 articles, but after the fact, I'm going to read a lot more, but for the most part, I may as well throw my EMF and my tri-field in the bin. May as well. Or I'll stick a beardo squiggle on it, and I'll send it out to one of you guys that wants to put it on a shelf. I don't know, because they seem redundant to me now, because EMF, for the most part, from what I have looked at, does not cause those feelings. And my final thought on it is, if EMF didn't cause it, what caused me, Doodle and Lee to all feel odd in the same place of the house within very quick succession of each other without discussing it? Either way, it's all very interesting. And as always, much love to you all. Beardo. Oh, sorry. One more thing. Certain recent drama-filled videos and all the rest of it, I've been asked to remove certain sections of those videos. That's not happening. If you're going to post stuff online for all to see, and then because you get caught out on your lies, no, that's not the way it works. Can't diss me, diss the community, and diss certain people all over social medias, and then because you get called out for it, say, oh, I'm sorry if you take that down. It's not the way it works. It'll never be the way it works. What's done and said is done and said. Exactly, because the next step is people like, I'm sorry, please remove that video, please remove that video. It'll never happen. Much love to you all. Beardo out.